Welcome to Hello Port Hueneme, and we have another episode of Citizens Forum with the city chairman, manager, Rod.
That's right.
Welcome.
Yes, hello, sir.
Uh, just to update you, what we do here is citizens of Port Hueneme, email in questions and suggestions they have that they would like to see the city act on or give them information on. And Rod listens to them and directs the questions or suggestions to the proper department, and they act on it. And
Last couple of weeks, we've had some solid motion on that where we were given back from HUD the paperwork, the final paperwork to execute the settlement agreement between HUD and the city of Port Hueneme and then the Port Hueneme Housing Authority. And that will be signed signed and executed by both sides within the next week to 10 days. And at that point, then we can go public officially with what the settlement is. But I think it's fair to both sides. Again, I know the viewers have heard me explain this before, so I'll just kind of give the Reader's Digest version, but it really wasn't about any kind of malfeasance or city employees running off with thousands of dollars. It had to do with the overhead charges that the city organization was charging to the housing authority for some of the services and facilities that the housing authority uses. And HUD was taking the position that we had overcharged basically for those staff hours and those services. So that's what the dispute's been about. And we think we have a settlement that's going to be fair to both sides. I just need to be careful at this point about getting into too much detail until we've signed those documents.
that's fine, because we've been waiting at least a year and a half.
That's right.
And again, we're making progress, and our job is to let the people know as soon as we can.
Great.
Okay. Last time also, we mentioned that, I don't know if it was you or the city has authorized a bid on doing the beach bathrooms, maybe totally over again, and you wanted to see how much that would cost versus making other types of modernization.
Yeah.
Have you gotten the bids in yet, or is that still?
Yeah, no bids in yet. I know this has been kind of a moving target, but we think now that May 15th, the regular city council meeting on May 15th, Carmen Nichols, deputy city manager, and Don Villafana, the new public works director, will be coming forward with an overall update on the beach restroom situation that will include the enhanced maintenance at the beach bathrooms, which the council recently approved. City council recently approved some money for. So that's just basically the day-to-day cleaning and maintenance of those restrooms. But we're also looking at the bigger picture of if we wanted to go through and do a major renovation of those restrooms, probably keep the existing walls in place, because if we do a total demolition and rebuild from scratch, that triggers a lot of additional costs that we probably don't want to spend right now. But you could do a major renovation where you basically leave the walls up, but everything else gets updated and replaced. And that's what we're waiting for bids on now. And just be an issue whether the council wants to invest the money to do that major work now, or try to budget for that down the road and save up for a couple of years and do it at that point. But at the very least, the day-to-day maintenance and cleaning of the restrooms is going to become more frequent than it has been.
Any feedback on the community garden?
Yeah, that has been discussed now with the Recreation and Fine Arts Commission. And I think the goal is to move forward with it and find a location that would be suitable. The question now is whether that should be a city project or whether that should be totally a private effort. And so you've helped remind me to nag Carmen Nichols and see what the next step in that is, because I know that they there are people who are interested in doing it. I think our sense at the staff level now is that that should be a privately run project.
Just backed by the city and guided sort of by the city. And we did have a resident, Judy Fox, did some surveys, which I think I shared with you. But anyway, there are some community ones and some private ones. And I think the community, the city could help a private group set the standards that needed to be adhered to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And do that. So very good. Thank you for following up on that. And the wheels of government turn slowly, but we're trying as best we can, and we're getting answers on a lot of things that have been around.
Good.
Another thing was the traffic. Certain areas were sort of dangerous. The speeding. Matter of fact, I spoke to the new police chief yesterday, and on various things, but he did mention that speeding up and down Ventura Road outside here is a problem.
Right.
And I saw some guys the other day going about 55 or 60,
Wow.
you know, down. It wasn't real crowded, but still, for some reason they think some people do,
Right.
think it's a raceway.
Speedway, yeah.
So, and I know on some of these issues you said there wasn't a history, but it is a problem. And so has any advance been made in looking into that?
Yeah, so one thing just since our last broadcast was that the city council approved at their meeting last week setting aside a little over $50,000 to look at some of these pedestrian safety hotspots where we are continually getting complaints. The Oxnard Harbor District, and it would take a long time to explain all the history on this, but they, in years when their revenue is very strong, and they have had 3 or 4 or 5 really good years in a row now, the city gets $100,000 in what's called community benefit money from the harbor for various projects that, you know, we can demonstrate have a benefit to the community. So the city council has been having a discussion over the last couple of months about how to allocate actually $200,000 because it's 2 years worth of this community benefit money. And they recently decided that about almost a fourth of that, $50,000, will be put toward looking at these various areas of, you know, traffic enforcement, pedestrian safety. The $50,000 is probably not going to pay for all the improvements, maybe a few of the improvements, but it will allow us to really to analyze those areas that need some additional lighting, pavement marking, signs, things that would really, maybe new crosswalks in areas that need them, there were things that would really improve pedestrian safety. So, you know, that's, again, the money, when you've got the money there, that helps a lot.
And
True.
Any more news on the Miranda tennis courts?
Yeah, so what we've decided on that is that we, you know, there's, as I've mentioned a couple times before, there's about almost $1 million available for improvements either at Miranda or at the Hueneme Beach Park. It's leftover redevelopment agency money, bond money that the city, it's safe for the city to still program and spend, even though redevelopment has gone away. So it may not be that all that money is spent on the park. It could be, but there may be. The council will get to decide ultimately, and we're going to do some community outreach as well to see what especially the residents in that area feel. But some of the money could be used at the beach park, you know, over and above anything that's spent at Miranda Park. To get this all going, we've decided that we need the help of an outside engineering and design firm and people that have experience with park planning and park improvements. So one specific step that has happened since our last discussion is that we are now in serious talks and waiting for a proposal from a firm. They're based down in Orange County, but they do work all over Southern California, that would come in and really kickstart this and help supplement city staff to, first of all, help us decide how that million should be spent. And obviously, one of the big priorities is the tennis courts. And there's talk about, resurfacing all the tennis courts. You could resurface a few of the tennis courts now and do some later. The whole pickleball craze is out there now. There are a number of Hueneme residents that play pickleball down in the Hueneme Park area. So you could actually repurpose a tennis court as a pickleball court. I know Rich Rollins, a active resident that you and I both know, I think is advocating maybe taking one of the existing basketball courts and turning that into a pickleball court. A lot of debate about that because there are a lot of, especially younger folks, that enjoy the basketball courts. So we'll get a chance to hash all that out. But my decision was, let's bring in some outside support to get some action on this going, because we really don't have dedicated in-house city employees who can be capital project managers. And that's really what this is. It's basically, it's kind of exciting. It's a chance to invest almost $1 million into these two really popular areas. All of it would go to Miranda, or some split between Hueneme Beach Park and Miranda Park. But it's going to be one of the biggest capital projects in the last 10 years in Port Hueneme of investing new money into a park facility.
Well, I know. Erica Hawes, a resident, sent an email in about overnight camping at the beach, and that she had contacted the police department and got a little bit of a runaround and said, well, you'd have to call when it's happening and get her, if it's at midnight when they sort of see it, it's sort of hard. And I think there was a suggestion that the police be alerted to it, and just to patrol there and see what's going on and evaluate the situation and see what they need to do.
Yeah, so I can tell you from that inquiry and 2 or 3 others that we've had over the last month or two, everyone from the police chief down has been made aware of it.
Okay,
That this is something we're seeing a little more frequently now. Probably see it more as the weather
Gets
warms
warmer.
up a little bit, yeah. And of course, it's not just a Port Hueneme thing, but we want to address it here before it gets out of control. So the facts are that overnight camping is not allowed on the beach. So people should do exactly what Tom has said, and that is contact the Port Hueneme Police Department if they suspect that someone has been there overnight, especially if they're seeing the same vehicle, the same tent, the same sometimes they'll do these makeshift, structures, almost like little dwelling units. That's not allowed. That's not okay. So the police department should be notified as soon as possible. And if the feeling is that it's just going on and the police department's not addressing it, people are always welcome to contact me and tell me the specifics and maybe a little description of what part of the beach they're seeing it on, or maybe what parking lot they're seeing it in, and we'll try to get that addressed as soon as possible.
Okay. Last 2 things. One is there was a sign up on the beach a couple weeks ago, be aware of the polluted water. I didn't see the sign, and so I don't know how specific it read, but could you explain what that means and what people should do, so hopefully in the future, if it happens again, they'll know what to do?
Sure. Yeah, we had a number of calls from residents about those signs when they went up, and it turns out that they were put there by Ventura County Department of Health, and that department does routine ocean water testing throughout the year, testing for different bacteria levels and other unsafe substances in the water. And for whatever weird reason, and I'm not sure they ever completely figured out what it was, the bacteria levels had gone higher than the health standards allow in that portion. I think it was everything north of the pier is what it was, the way it was explained to us. And our response to that, or our advice to people, is to stay out of the water when you see those signs, because the whole purpose of the signs is to let you know that there may be something that's unhealthy in the water at that point. And you can also go to, I don't have the exact website address, but it's just Google Ventura County Health Department or Department of Public Health, and that'll take you to the ocean water testing program. And you'll get more information on what they test for, when they do it, why they do it. Actually, they've been very helpful with us in, even though we didn't exactly know that they were going to put those signs up before they did, once we contacted them, they were very helpful in explaining what the situation was and, you know, what this ocean water testing program is designed to do. So Ventura County Department of Public Health, they've got some really good information on their website.
Okay. All right, thank you for the update. Rod,
Sure.
thank you for your help.
All right.
And I think it was very successful what we've accomplished since we did the last one. And we'll keep asking the residents to send us more questions and suggestions. And I really appreciate the hard work and quick work in government terms
That's right.
that we're getting. So thank you guys for watching this, and we'll see you next month with another Citizens Forum.